Because this is a movie that was made in 1937 and is being remade in 2024, and you sit here moaning about the differences between those two movies like 1937 were the glory days.
Critical Drinker, your YouTube video on the trailer has now been viewed nearly 2.5 million times, and you said the new Dwarfs look is nightmare fuel. Can you explain that for us, please?
Yeah, so what they've obviously tried to do is retain the artistic aesthetic of the cartoon from the 1930s, but transpose it into a live-action movie, and it just looks horrific. It's so out of place, and when you see...
Is Disney genuinely making strides towards inclusivity? Or are they simply tarnishing the beloved classics we cherish in a bid to appear woke? Critical Drinker, a prominent commentator on YouTube, is unflinching in his critique of Disney's recent Snow White remake. He calls out the glaring hypocrisy behind the studio's decision to replace the iconic dwarfs with CGI characters, branding the new creations as nightmarish. In his incisive takedown, he dismantles the flimsy defenses put forth by James Barr, exposing how this move has robbed dwarf actors of authentic opportunities in the name of superficial inclusivity. At the center of this heated debate lies the question of whether Peter Dinklage's controversial remarks played a role in this facing humiliation, but has also sparked outrage among fans who feel betrayed by the studio's choices. The discourse surrounding this remake has raised profound questions about what Disney truly aims to accomplish. Critical Drinker spares no effort in highlighting how the replacement of the Seven Dwarfs undermines the integrity of the original story, while simultaneously sidelining a community that Disney claims to support. He argues that instead of embracing authenticity, Disney's efforts appear to be nothing more than a facade of progress, effectively harming the very individuals they purport to uplift. His analysis cuts through the so-called progressive narrative that Disney hides behind, laying bare the implications of their choices. Fans are left questioning the purpose of these CGI dwarfs that have incited so much fury. Are they indicative of genuine progress? Or is Disney merely pandering to a narrative that disregards the desires of its core audience? These burning questions form the crux of Critical Drinker's commentary as he scrutinizes the studio's latest blunder. On one side of this fiery debate stands Critical Drinker, well known for his brutally honest critiques like Star Wars, Marvel, and the Rings of Power. Now, his sharp focus is directed at Disney's controversial Snow White remake, which he views as another misguided attempt at modernization that threatens to ruin a classic tale in favor of shallow, performative progress. I honestly don't think I've ever witnessed a movie create so many blunders. The recently released Snow White remake has sparked significant controversy, particularly due to the cringe-worthy interviews with its lead actress and the baffling choice to replace the original dwarfs with CGI characters, all in an attempt to avoid offending Peter Dinklage. This decision has created a perfect storm of predictability and absurdity, exemplifying the troubling trends in modern entertainment that often twist beloved stories into something barely recognizable.
See them dancing next to Rachel Zegler, who's an actual human actor. You want to talk to me about Rings of Power? I will talk your ear off for hours. But we're here to discuss Snow White, so what do you want me to say?
For the dwarf actors.
Because I think what they're trying to do here is make it more inclusive. Plus, also remember,
it's not inclusive.
the
It's a robot.
original.
It's
Trying to
They are
remove
literally
stereotypes. There's so many CGI movies.
Barely recognizable, all in a desperate attempt to appeal to an increasingly polarized audience. As the conversation unfolds, it becomes clear that this debate encapsulates larger themes within the film industry, including authenticity, representation, and the delicate balance between progress and pandering. The question remains, can Disney navigate these complex waters without losing sight of what made their stories resonate in the first place? What do you think about your thoughts in the comments? This conversation is far from over, and it reflects a broader concern among audiences about the direction of beloved franchises. Disney seems to be engaged in a desperate effort to pander to every demographic, resulting in a product that many fans feel stray too far from the essence of the original. On one side of this contentious debate stands James Barr, a figure familiar with defending Hollywood's most questionable decisions. Whether discussing the divisive direction of The Last Jedi or the troubled reception of the Mulan remake, Barr has consistently backed corporate moves, and now he finds himself once again justifying Disney's choices. He argues that replacing the iconic Seven Dwarfs with CGI figures is a progressive step towards inclusivity. However, this perspective raises critical issues only from fans but also from the dwarf acting community itself. The choice to replace the dwarfs isn't merely an update to a classic story, it deprives talented actors, who have historically depended on roles like these, of vital job opportunities. Critical Drinker, in particular, is vocal about this hypocrisy, shining a light on the dissonance between Disney's proclaimed progressiveness and the harmful consequences of their actions. Rather than fostering inclusivity, Disney's misguided attempts are backfiring, harming the very community they purport to support. Fans are increasingly aware of this disingenuousness, and the backlash is palpable. This raises an important question: is this remake a genuine step forward, or simply another instance of corporate pandering masquerading as inclusivity? As the discussion unfolds, some voices question the inconsistency. If the issue truly lies in representation, why is the focus solely on Disney? Critics argue that if one is willing to scrutinize Disney, the same level of scrutiny should be applied across the board. Yet, there's a growing frustration that centers on the very fabric of the Snow White narrative. Fans are bewildered by a film titled Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs that lacks actual dwarfs. The lead character, portrayed by Rachel Zegler, is positioned against a rival in a way that feels convoluted and unfocused, straying from the timeless themes of love and adventure that define the original. What remains is a hollow, vacuous interpretation that begs the question, what is this movie really about? However, Critical Drinker refuses to let Barr's claims go unchallenged. With sharp commentary, he cuts through the superficial arguments, revealing the hollowness of Disney's so-called progress. He highlights the blatant hypocrisy behind the buzzwords used to defend these choices, emphasizing how Disney's virtue signaling is nothing more than a flimsy disguise masking their real issues. This initiative isn't progress, it's pandering to a trend that ultimately undermines job opportunities for actors and dilutes beloved authenticity and depth in storytelling, not hollow gestures of inclusivity. Critical Drinker ensures that Barr understands this stark reality, laying bare the flaws in Disney's current trajectory and questioning whether their efforts to appease everyone have led them astray from what made their stories timeless in the first place. The recent release of Disney's Snow White remake has ignited a firestorm of controversy, driven not just by the film's lackluster response but also by the awkward interviews with its lead actress and the perplexing decision to replace the original dwarfs with CGI characters. This choice appears to be an ill-fated attempt to avoid offending Peter Dinklage, who has publicly criticized the portrayal of dwarfism in Hollywood. The result is a perfect storm of predictability and absurdity, showcasing the troubling trends in Critical Drinker decisively dismantles Barr's flimsy defense of Disney's disastrous decision, dissecting the narrative spun by corporate executives. Barr clings desperately to a worn-out script, repeating the same claims that replacing the dwarfs represents a leap toward progressiveness and inclusivity. He attempts to portray Disney as a moral compass, bravely navigating society into a new era by shedding what he deems outdated stereotypes. Contemporary entertainment that often twists cherished narratives into something barely recognizable, them astray from the core elements that made their stories timeless in the first place. Ultimately, this situation reflects a broader concern within the entertainment industry about the balance between inclusivity and authenticity. As cultural conversations evolve, creators face the challenge of representing diverse voices without compromising the integrity of the narratives they wish to tell. The backlash against Disney's Snow White serves as a cautionary tale, highlighting the perils of prioritizing corporate interests over genuine storytelling. If studios wish to remain relevant in an ever-changing landscape, they must be vigilant in their commitment to authentic representation that respects the source material and the communities they aim to portray. As audiences navigate this complex terrain, they will continue to demand more from the stories they love. It is a clarion. Rather than empowering the dwarf community, Disney's choice has inadvertently marginalized the very actors it claims to support. For many dwarf actors, roles like the Seven Dwarfs have provided essential income and representation in an industry that frequently overlooks them. These roles have allowed talented individuals to find meaningful work, and the decision to replace them with computer-generated characters has stripped away vital opportunities. As one member of the dwarf community poignantly stated, "Why should Dinklage's words decide our fate?" This question encapsulates the sense of betrayal felt by many as the industry grapples with the implications of a single actor's comments. The decision to erase the dwarfs is not merely an update of a beloved story, it is a radical overreach that has left a community feeling unsupported and discarded. The dwarf acting community sees Disney's action for what it is, an attempt to sidestep backlash at the cost of those they purport to uplift. The The frustration is palpable as these actors watch cherished roles handed over to lifeless CGI creations under the guise of progressive storytelling. This action is not just an insult to fans of the original. The lead character, played by Rachel Zegler, is depicted as forcing the dwarfs to clean and care for her, raising uncomfortable questions about agency and reciprocity. Instead of presenting a tale where cooperation and mutual respect thrive, the new storyline risks perpetuating outdated dynamics under the guise of modern storytelling. This blatant disregard for narrative integrity, combined with identity politics, exposes a profound clash between genuine storytelling and the superficial demands of contemporary sensibilities. As the trailer for this remake hit the internet, the reaction was immediate and overwhelmingly negative. Disney's attempt to win back public favor through this film has largely backfired, leading many to believe it is time for the studio to reconsider the direction of this project entirely. The outcry suggests that perhaps this effort should be shelved rather than released to an audience that already tells the flimsy defenses of Disney's decision with piercing clarity. He argues that this move was not about crafting genuine progress or fostering inclusivity, but rather a desperate bid to shield the company from potential backlash. Disney's anxiety over offending a vocal minority led them to prioritize empty virtue signaling over authentic representation and storytelling. The decision to replace the iconic Seven Dwarfs with CGI figures was not aimed at uplifting dwarf actors or enriching the narrative. It was solely about protecting their brand from criticism, even at the cost of sacrificing their legacy and the very individuals they profess to support. The impact of this decision extends beyond the immediate disappointment of fans. It reflects a growing trend in the entertainment industry, where the fear of offending specific demographics overshadows the importance of authentic storytelling. We invite you to share your opinions in the comments section below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on all the latest news about your favorite stars. Thank you for tuning in, and we look forward to continuing this conversation.